This is John from the Thinking HR News Desk. Our topic for this week, values. In the news, lots about it again. Some absolutely crazy articles spouting some absolute, complete and utter rubbish, all about values. Now, what's getting me irritated? Well, I can tell you most people really don't understand it. We have this wonderful idea that we can create these values. Sometimes we even bother to engage people in the organisation and come up with them. And then we try to force them down people's throats and make them regurgitate them, think about them, live them, all of this kind of nonsense. That is in fact a management control technique. This is not a leadership thing. A leadership is where people feel inspired to follow what has been role modelled. Nothing to do with you will obey because this is what I tell you. Now, customer service is a fantastic example here. Imagine that customer obsession, which for many organisations is becoming more so true, which of course is important. Customer obsession, customer care is so crucial nowadays. However, if you recruit somebody and they really don't believe in it, they can't act it, their behaviours really don't match, they really don't care. However much you try to shove this down their throat, whether it's training, posters all over the walls, screensavers, whatever it is, it's not going to change their mind. Now, when did those kind of values questions come up in your appraisals and your performance reviews? Probably very unlikely. You talk about performance. Now, of course, performance is a result of your values, but it's about the things you consider to be important, not to be confused with corporate branding. Corporate branding is an output of the values created by the people and the leaders inside, by the people who feel inspired to follow an example by a great leader. So leaders really create the values and therefore culture within different teams. Now, what you can't do, and is totally unrealistic, is create a level right across the whole organisation following the same values. It's a crazy notion. You will never going to achieve it because what you're talking about is trying to influence people's minds. Now, one of the other important things, I think, is you need a good, healthy mix of different values. This is why we have teams, but if they are brought into strengths and recruited to strengths, then they're incredibly useful for the organisation, providing somebody knows how to tap them into them and also manage them. Now, of course, this is the big challenge. This is why everyone talks about cultural fit, because they want people with the same values because they're easy to manage. So, when people have different values, they're more potentially difficult to manage. And as managers and leaders, we want a nice smooth path. Don't be silly. Again, that's another ridiculous notion. So, we have to be very careful here because values, a top-down approach, I call it the alligator close. You have a top-down role-modelled set of values that people and leaders at senior level actually live and breathe. They're not just something that you talk about. Many years ago, with one of the organisations that I worked with, I created an unwritten business plan. Why? Unwritten? Because if it has to be written down, it's so complex and so detailed, people will never remember it. So it's potentially principle-based. So while it's important to draw people's attention to it, it's much better to direct them, lead them in and inspire them in the right way of thinking and of course therefore behaviours. I also call it the alligator close because there needs to be an underneath part which says we recruit and also provide, if necessary, the right training and support to be able to people to live up to those and explore and put into practice those kind of thinking and behaviours. That's about support, so it is a two-pronged alligator close, which means you get a two-pronged attack. So, if you want to improve the values in the organisation, be very careful, number one, who you recruit, And 2, the leaders and the managers, what they role model as key behaviours and therefore what they consider to be important principles. Stop the control. It simply doesn't work. This is John, Thinking HR. See you very soon.